The big like their featured article reviewing 2 Point Campus. Discuss the things they want to see upcoming 2022 event. Remember, you can always join in on the conversation. Shack News Cortex. So if Nick.
Hold on 1 second.
Nick.
Where is it? Intro. There we go.
It's time! Streaming live from Cleveland, Ohio! Presenting the undefeated, undisputed heavyweight podcast of the world! The Big Play Reflex Show!
Okay, do you need medical attention?
Yeah.
What is wrong?
I don't know. I know damn well. Attack by Chuck. To the 10. He's still running to the 5. Dips out back.
It's time! The Big Play Reflex Show!
Welcome to the Big Play Reflog Show, presented by Shack News. I'm your host, Nick Padone, alongside, you know him, Mr. Chris McNeil, Reflog. What is going on? Welcome on into the Big Play Reflog Show.
Kind of depressed, Nick.
What's going on, man?
No more assassin. We're going to have to ask Joe Noga about this, but Bobby Bradley finally cut loose, right?
Yeah, your guy. It's
my guy, the assassin,
unfortunate.
just killing it in Columbus there for a while. I thought he was going to be the next big thing in Cleveland. And boy, the next big thing to be shipped out of Cleveland, it looks like at this point. So we'll ask Joe about it, but I'm kind of depressed. I really liked Bobby Bradley. I really thought he had a shot. everything that I saw with the guy, but time to give it a shot. We'll be moving along, unfortunately.
Yeah, we will, and along with them, Chris, Franmil Reyes as well. Kind of how the mighty have fallen. So today on the show, we will get to you guys through those Cleveland headlines. We'll talk some Guardians. So obviously, we hit some of the big headlines right there. Reyes is done. Bobby Bradley is done. We will be joined by Joe Noga, Guardians reporter for Cleveland.com. We're also going to talk you through some Cleveland Browns headlines. Deshaun Watson watch continues. Oh, as does the myriad of other things from Berea. We're also on Kareem Hunt watch, I suppose, and his trade request / extension. So we'll get through all of that. Let's kick it off first with some Cleveland headlines presented by TSE Cleveland. Let's do it. Cleveland headlines brought to you by TSECleveland.com. Every week, TSE Cleveland helps us give away some of the best signed Browns merchandise in the game. We got to get some of these graphics updated here, but they do have it all at TSE Cleveland. Signed jerseys, helmets, photos. We give stuff away every week. So follow Big Play Reflog, follow TSE Cleveland, and be on the lookout to win some of that signed gear. So we're actually going to kick it off, Chris, with Power Rank Monday. Haven't done that in a long time. We are going to power rank the worst uniforms in the NFL. Now, these could be alternates, they could be throwbacks, they could be current uniforms. 3, 2, 1. I know this doesn't make for great radio, but I'm going to go ahead and do this. My number one, I have to throw it out there before we even start this conversation. Those Steelers Bumblebee prison jacket uniforms. That is the worst uniform in NFL history. Those are horrible.
Yeah, and that was going to be my number one right there. I hate those. I kind of like it because if a team that I hate is wearing something ugly, it's kind of nice. It's like seeing an X out and you'd see that they haven't aged very well or don't look very good. It kind of makes you feel better about yourself, and that's where I'm at with those Pittsburgh Steelers Bumblebee jerseys and uniforms. But yeah, those things are hideous. No self-respecting team would wear them, and which makes them perfect for Pittsburgh.
All right, so those are our, both of our least favorite jerseys out of the way. Let's get into number 3 and number 2. Do you have any jerseys that out there that you particularly hate? I don't know that I feel too strongly about any NFL uniforms.
And I'm looking through the list right now. You've got some of the classics. Remember that Denver Broncos throwback that they did that didn't even have their colors? They had like different colors.
That one comes to mind. You know what other one comes to mind is the one that the Packers wore a couple years back with Rodgers, where it was like the navy uniform with just that yellow circle on the stomach, and he had like 12 on his stomach. That one was pretty bad. A lot of the vintage ones that they try to bring back are bad because they were good in their day, but now they don't really cut it the same. So
the other one I don't like is I don't like the Bears messing around too much with their color scheme because they're a lot like the Browns at times. And if I'm going quickly through the stations, I always hate when I get tripped up by a team like that I think is like the Browns, and then you realize it's actually not.
Yeah, well, we did. They did kind of steal our helmet. I don't know if you saw that, but they definitely ripped the helmet. It's going to be an orange helmet with a dark brown face mask. Looks identical. So we'll see. There's always some bad ones, and if the NFL tries to move their uniform policy with all these throwbacks and now alternate helmets, anything like the NBA, who knows? Could be in store for a lot of wonky jersey combinations out there.
Giants wearing the red jersey with all blue. That always looks kind of weird.
That one's weird.
The gray at the bottom. That's another one.
I think, is it Atlanta that wears the gunmetal gray? That always looked arena football-y to me. Same with Seattle when they wore those Color Rush all neons. I know some people really liked those. Some people really hated them at the time. It was like super polarizing when the NFL was starting to do Color Rush. I'm not a fan of those.
Well, we're missing the elephant in the room too. How about the Browns' old uniforms before we change back?
That's fair.
The rebranding. Remember that? I know that we've kind of pushed that out of our memories, and rightfully so, but those were god awful.
I think this offseason, John Johnson III tossed on his Instagram asking to bring those back.
No, he didn't.
I think he
Did
did,
he?
man. He did.
JW did? We'll have to have
No,
him
no,
on.
no. John Johnson, the Brown safety.
Oh, the Brown safety. I thought you were
Yeah,
talking
not
about
JW.
JW
No,
from,
that man,
from
that would
the
make some
ownership
news.
group who would actually have his finger on the button to be able to do it. It's like if he's tossing that around, it may be closer than what we think. No, good. John Johnson, he can want that all he wants to. That's not happening.
All right, that's enough uniform talk. We got some actual sports to get into because the Guardians, Chris, just one game out of first in this AL
How about that?
Central. This whole year, we were so depressed and down about the Guardians coming into the season before the Jose Ramirez contract.
Yeah.
Here we sit in August, getting ready to have real football back this week for the preseason, and the Guardians are still in the thick of a divisional race.
Guardians fever is hitting Cleveland hard, right? Can you hear the buzz in town? Everybody's
I hear
talking
it.
Guardians, right? Oh, I tell you, I feel bad because they're doing so well for a young team. And we'll talk to Joe about this, but the buzz should be there right now. I'm excited about the team, but you got the Browns starting up, and of course that sucks a lot of it. But we'll catch up with what's going on here with Joe and see what's going on in the Guardians realm.
All righty, we got him in the weight room. Here he is, Cleveland.com Guardians reporter Joe Noga. Let's bring him in. Okay, joining us now on the Labatt Blue Line. You've read his stuff. You've seen him on Twitter. Mr. Joe Noga joins the Big Play Reflog Show. Joe, what is going on? Thanks for joining us.
Great to be with you guys. I'm at home, not having my personal living quarters raided by the FBI today, so I'm doing a good job.
Hey-o. And hey,
And on a day off. For those who don't know, the Guardians do not play today. Joe does not have a game to cover, and he is here with us. And you are clutch, Joe.
Trooper.
I really.
It could be worse. I could be downtown right now at Monday Night Raw with a bunch of Neanderthals. So this is the best case scenario, guys.
And it's pouring down here, Joe. It is absolutely pouring.
Yeah, I was looking out my window. I'm 5 minutes from downtown, and I was watching the apocalypse out my front window before I jumped on here. So it's good. As long as the lights stay on, we'll be all right.
Yep, I'm with you. Let's get to some of the big news that went down in the world of Guardians this week. Was Franmil Reyes and his, DFA situation claimed today.
Wait a second. You're not going to start with Bobby Bradley? Are you going to bury the lead on the assassin?
All right, Chris,
I mean,
I'll
I know
let you get it out.
Franmil. Everyone wants.
I'll let you get it out.
Bobby's my boy.
All right,
Well,
the assassin. Go ahead.
What's going on with the assassin? Bad news this week, Joe. Is he done? Is it all gone? No hope.
Yeah, it's pretty much his at bats will be taken by someone who the organization probably sees as more forward, leaning towards a path to the majors. There, his overwhelming strikeout rate, his contact problem was probably more of what did him in than anything else. It's great to have a guy who can hit 30 home runs and drive in 80 to 100 runs. But if he's not making contact, he's not going to be able to do that, and that's what Bobby had a problem with.
Man.
All right, now
Great
that
the assassin, he needed to get to the major leagues so we could use that nickname. I'm just upset about that.
I don't know if
he could have sold a lot of T-shirts. Exactly.
Did GV even get a shirt out of it? Yeah. That's a bummer. Yeah. I'm sure they were bummed too. So obviously, though, Franmil struggled, this season. But were you surprised at all that they did go that route of DFA-ing them so soon, or did that really not surprise you that much?
Tito said after the move was made the other night, he said this game will get you. You can go from a prospect to a suspect in a hurry, and that's really sort of what they wouldn't have given him a jersey night a year ago and a bobblehead night this year if they didn't think that this guy was a guy that you could build into your lineup. And he just went south so quickly. And I think more than anything, I think the franchise tried to motivate him and tried to get him to put a little more work in a lot of different ways. And nothing really ever just took hold with him this year. 40% strikeout rate is not going to get it done, especially on a team that strikes out the least in the majors this year and is built around putting the ball in play. You can tell that Tito loves the way these guys play, especially at the top of the lineup, and it just doesn't fit with Franmil. And now he can move that DH spot around. He was really stuck with Franmil only being able to DH, and occasionally, maybe during a doubleheader, you throw him out there in right field for a game. But now you can rotate that DH between Nolan Jones and get Josh Naylor off his feet. And he even said the other day, they DH'd Ahmed Rosario in a game, and that's something they wouldn't be able to do with Franmil on the club. So there's a lot more flexibility. You're going to see a different sort of lineup, maybe night to night, but dare I say it's worked out so far.
Yeah, definitely. And you look at some of the farm system, they have, I think this just came out recently, 9 players ranked in the top 100 MLB prospects now. I believe Bo Naylor just got that bump recently. Does that make it a little bit easier for the guards to give up on a guy like Bradley, like Franmil?
It's never easy to give up on a guy who's got that 30 home run, 100 RBI potential. That's you're always in the back of your mind worried that he's going to go to the Cubs now and come back and do that next year. And he has the potential to do it. Never easy. The example that always sticks out: you trade away a Brian Giles, and he goes on to have a sensational career after that. But yeah, I think having the backload of outfielders in particular. They were able to move George Valera up from Akron this afternoon. He's promoted to Columbus now, and he's going to get some of those at bats that probably would have gone to Franmil if he had stuck around on the roster. And now half of that outfield is up in Cleveland anyways, with Nolan Jones and Will Benson already here. So these young guys, as long as they, it doesn't have to be super consistent, but as long as they show signs that they're getting the hang of it, that's what they wanted to see out of guys like Jones, guys like Benson. Maybe we'll see a Will Brennan at some point before the end of the year, and it needs to happen because that's what the front office's plan is.
So something that interests me. So what do they do with a guy like Franmil Reyes? He's got a bobblehead night coming up Saturday, September 3rd. What do the Guardians do? Do they still give away the bobbleheads?
I think it's officially it's probably still in limbo. But the indication was that if Reyes was still with the organization on September 3rd, that they would still give the bobblehead away because there might have still been a chance that he could be back with the club next year. You can never predict injuries or anything like that. But I think with him being in Chicago now, I wonder if they put in a call to Jed Hoyer and the folks out in Chicago and say, hey, you want to buy a couple of pallets of Franmil Reyes bobbleheads? We'll give them to you pretty cheap.
Yeah, all you have to do is repaint them. They're going to have to stay up late repainting all those bobbleheads with the C on them.
Well, I mean, Chicago has a C, so it should put the pinstriping the uniforms might be a little more painstaking. Yeah, I just think it was interesting that there was more outcry over demoting Mustard to Lake County this afternoon than the your opening day 4-hitter is now in a Cubs uniform. I think people were okay with that move, but demoting Mustard sent Twitter into a tizzy.
What side are you on, Joe, of the Mustard debate? Are you?
It's condiments. Come on, man. Stadium Mustard. He's yellow. I don't even deal with stadium with yellow mustard. Stadium Mustard all the way.
True Cleveland, right there.
All right. Yeah, true. Chris, are you in that boat too? I'm in that boat. Stadium Mustard all the way.
Yeah, but I mean, mustard is out there. It's the only representative that I could really root for. I mean, onion's okay, but ketchup at a ballpark. I mean, ketchup is more of a hamburger thing, and I don't eat hamburgers at the ballpark. I'm sorry. Hamburgers, cheeseburgers. I eat hot dogs. I eat brats, and that's got to be a mustard, always, 100%. So mustard has got to show up a little bit. I mean, yellow or not, you gotta perform on the field if you're going to stay with the big club, right?
A big highlight of the year for me was when we were in Kansas City this most recent trip, and they had their kids do their hot dog race in Kansas City. They dress a kid up in yellow sweatpants with a a mustard hot dog on, and the kid got about halfway around the track and his pants fell down and he face planted. We watched it live, and we're sitting there in the press box thinking that's going to be a front and center highlight on Sports Center, and it was pretty good. So at least Cleveland's Mustard has that going for him. He's not face down in the dirt on the track in Kansas City.
Haven't done that yet. So what do you see for the second half of this team now, Joe? I mean, I'm pretty excited about where we're at in the standings, where we're at as far as these young guys. I mean, you're going to have to look at, some guys who haven't contributed before at this level starting to really bring it on. And then some of the established guys really doing what we think that they can do, especially with that rotation. What is your take on it?
I think they're really going to stick with this idea of letting these kids play and letting the young, the kindergartens, as we're calling them.
I haven't heard that one. There's a T-shirt right there. Nick, have you heard that one yet?
Well, I mean, you could potentially, if they bring up Bo Naylor and Gabriel Arias at some point in after the rosters expand in September, you could see a lineup where it's Ramirez and the rookies. You put Hosey at third, and you put 8 rookies around him, and see how it goes. I don't know. Again, they're still a game out in the Central, and Minnesota have the firepower to beat Cleveland. I still think Chicago can come from third place and beat both Minnesota and Cleveland. But it's going to be fun, like you said, these last 2 months. I just don't know that a lineup that features 3 to 4 rookies per night is going to have enough consistency to win. I hope I'm wrong. I hope we're still playing into October and I get to go and cover a 3-game wild card series somewhere. But it just other than Tristan McKenzie and Cal Quantrill and Shane Bieber starting to come on, there's a couple of holes in that rotation right now that need fixed, and one of them is probably between Zach Plesac's ears. So yeah, it remains to be seen. The bullpen, probably one of the more consistent parts about the team from start to finish of the season so far. And Emmanuel Clase has just been fantastic.
Another question for you. We were talking about mascots a minute ago with Mustard. This guy could, have the personality to be a mascot some point down the line. Is James Karinchak. I mean, how nice is it for them to have him back, at least, with a little bit more consistency this season than what we had, later this season than what we had seen from him a bit before? Is it that he's finally healthy, or what's really going on with him?
I think being healthy has a lot to do with it. The personality never went anywhere. It was still, it stayed consistent. I thought it was funny when we talked to Nolan Jones after his call up. He said throughout all of his rehab and work that he was doing to get back from ankle and shoulder and wrist surgeries and all that, it was James Karinchak working with him out in Arizona who sort of set him on the right path and said, "Hey, just focus and you'll get there and you'll be in the big leagues soon enough." And kind of we did not suspect that James Karinchak would be the unlikely voice of reason for Nolan Jones. What you see is definitely what you get out of James Karinchak on the mound with the histrionics and the hand motions and the screaming and all of that. It's what works for him, and he's shown that he's more like the James Karinchak of 2020, early 2021, before rules were put in place that sort of changed things for him a little bit.
How about
Definitely,
Tristan? What have you seen? What switch changed here for him, and what really kind of propelled him these last few starts? I mean, he's just been lights out. And what have you seen out of Tristan McKenzie?
He is becoming that ace, that guy who, we met him back in 2017 during they brought their rookies and their minor league guys up for a fall symposium late in the 2017 season, and he had just been named the organization's pitcher of the year. And you looked at him and you said, wow, this is a kid who one of these days could be the ace. And he's certainly grown into that role now. I think he understands who he is and what he can do. He executes now with his fastball. Luke Maley said when he can throw his fastball for strikes on the outside part of the plate to right-handed hitters, it opens up everything with his curveball and his slider and all of his breaking stuff. So when he does that, you're going to see a good Tristan McKenzie, and he's been consistent. He's been deceptive with his delivery, and so far this season, I think he's just matured into a guy who knows exactly what's in front of him, and he's taking it.
Tito's been around obviously for a long time and seen a lot of ball clubs, seen some very successful ball clubs, seen some less than successful, although most of the time he's been successful, quite frankly. Where do you think his head's at with this team right now? I mean, he obviously knows that this is a young my kids again.
It would be a big play reflog show without the FaceTime on the
It's always my kids. My kids, they get up there, they're playing remotely with their friends, and it always happens right during the show. So I apologize for that for everybody. But where is Tito's head at? I know my head right now is about to go up there and talk to some kids, but where's Tito's head at with this team?
I think, and this is just me talking, I think Tito probably would have liked to have seen them maybe make a move at the deadline, maybe just do something to add to this team and try to go for a division title or even a wild card spot. I think he understands that it's so rare to be in a position to get a championship of any kind, division, wild card, whatever, that you take advantage of the opportunities when they're presented. But I think he really has gotten a kick out of seeing 13 rookies come up and most all of them produce at some point or at some level. It's really reinvigorated him. And, compared to the last couple of seasons when he's been struggling with health issues and that's sort of in the back of his mind, he's focused on these guys, and he was genuinely excited to come to the park every day because he knows there's something that these kids are going to give him.
Yeah, and it seems that way. Boy, it's a fun team to follow. And I'll tell you what else is fun. Baseball cards. Do you want to play? And actually, I don't have baseball cards. I got football cards. So let's switch tracks a little bit. Will you play football cards with me, Joe?
I could still get the Deion Sanders, because I got a Deion Sanders the last time you pulled on a baseball card. If I get a Deion Sanders football card, that's it. You have to retire the game.
Go back. Yeah, that's right. So you went baseball with Deion, and now we got football. If you get them both ways, then you're officially the winner of all time. You go into our
Bo Jackson. We had a Bo Jackson last week too, so it's possible.
All right, so we've got Pro Set. Oh, we got my kids again. Oh, you gotta be.
Saw it before it started ringing.
All right, I'm back here. We've got NFL Football 1991 Upper Deck, Joe, and we got Pro Set 1991. Which one would you like?
Hey, you got to go Upper Deck. Are you kidding me?
Upper Deck. Yep, that would have been my choice too. Okay, opening the Upper Deck NFL Football 1991 with my teeth. There we go. All right, let's see how the cards are tonight. So we start off with a John Stevens, running back from the Patriots. Al Toon from the Jets. Do you remember Al Toon?
I do.
Yeah. Jeff Hostetler, quarterback of the Giants from West Virginia.
The year he won the Super Bowl.
That's right. Yeah. Kevin Ross, cornerback from Kansas City. Jerry Gray, cornerback from the Rams. Chip Lohmiller, boy, there's a name from a long time ago. Kicker from the Redskins. Oh, a guy by the name of Jerry Rice. He was a wide receiver for the 49ers.
Pound for pound, the greatest receiver in the history of the game.
Oh, and then the next guy you just pulled, I'm just going to go ahead and quit now.
Wow.
He's got the name of Reggie White.
Chris 0 for 2.
If the Browns would have landed this guy, Nick, as opposed to him going to the Packers, we would have won a Super Bowl. But that's a story for another day. Farrell Edmonds, tight end from the Dolphins. Albert Bentley, running back from the Colts. Ernest Givens. Wow, nice. This is in division. Ernest Givens from the Oilers. And Lamel Stinson, cornerback from the Bears. So I assume you're going to go Jerry Rice and Reggie White.
Those would be the two that I would take, yes.
That's pretty solid right there, Joe. I don't know if I've got it. Let's see what I got. These are hard to open.
I
I'm
hope
gonna
your tenant doesn't watch the. Yeah, I hope he doesn't watch.
It's COVID safe too.
Yeah, no gum in these, unfortunately. Crack my teeth on them after I. Oh, how am I supposed to read these things? Let's see. It's on the back here. Tim Harris, Green Bay Packers linebacker. Oh, one of the classics. Rodney Peete,
Nice.
quarterback from the Lions. That was some good quarterbacking back in those days in the Lions.
Well, you've got a Heisman winner already.
Mark Rippon, also played for your Cleveland Browns. I got to see him preseason. I'll never forget that one summer. Mark Rippon playing for the Redskins. Steve McMichael, that's pretty good for the Bears. He's a Super Bowl champ. You've got Tim Rosenbaugh, quarterback from the Cardinals. You remember him at all, Joe?
I can't say that he stands out.
No, I do not remember that one either. We've got Charles Mann, defensive end from the Redskins. We've got two cards that are stuck together. Dennis Byrd. Oh, Dennis Byrd. Wow, from the Jets.
Pre-injury Dennis Byrd.
Yeah, he got injured and he still is. I think he's still alive. I think, right? He's paraplegic, unfortunately. Injured on the football field. You got Lewis Billups from the Bengals. You've got Reggie Cobb. I remember him from Tampa Bay. You've got Darryl Talley. Not bad, from Buffalo. Brent Williams from the Patriots and Lee Williams, presumably not brothers, from the Chargers. I've got nothing here. I got Mark Rippon, and Rodney Peete. I'll go Steve McMichael versus Reggie White and Jerry Rice. Nick, who's our winner today?
Sorry about your luck. Give me Jerry Rice all day. Sorry, bud. 0 for 2.
Well done.
Yeah, I'm 2-0. I like this game. I'll play this game anytime you want.
Chris is actually on a bit of a cold streak. He lost last week to Dave too.
A bit of a cold streak. I mean, that's pretty bad. I got just boat race there. Reggie White and Jerry Rice.
Chris, I just want to hear you say Mark Rippon's name again one more time.
Mark Rippon.
Yeah, there you go. Okay.
I like calling him Rippon. Mark Rippon, Mark Rippon. You remember when he played for the Browns?
Briefly, and
I don't think he made it out of the preseason, did he? I remember watching him in the preseason.
These are among the Browns' memories that we've suppressed for so many years.
These will be the conversations that I'll be having with you, Chris, about Josh Rosen in 20 years. Joe, good stuff. Thank you. Thanks so much for hopping on, man. Always good to talk guards, and we're in the midst of a 1-game playoff race. So I hope it's a good rest of the season for you.
It's going to be fun to watch these kids go out there and play every day. And thaning for having me on.
Yep, definitely.
Chris, thank you, sir.
Chris and I got to talk some Browns now. See ya.
Oh, bye.
Watch no part of that.
No.
See you, man. Joe Noga, ladies and gentlemen, the absolute best Guardians reporter in the biz. Go follow him at Joe Noga, CLE. Read his stuff on cleveland.com. Man, a lot of fun. Always fun with him. The best Guardians inside around. Such a cool dude. All right,
No
Chris,
doubt.
you're
No doubt.
ready to
Rose
talk some Browns.
jumps on with us. Kicks my butt in cards, unfortunately.
All right, we're talking Browns. We already played the headline music. Here it is from Adam Schefter, ESPN. The league has filed its appeal in the Deshaun Watson suspension, per source. Yes, we know the NFL has appealed Sue L. Robinson's 6-game suspension for Deshaun Watson. Chris, where you at with all this? I hate asking you this. What kind of suspension are you expecting for Watson? When could we expect to see him on the field? Is this process? Where you at with all this, man?
Well, for anybody who's been listening to our show, they know that they heard this news last week when I said, without a question, there is no way the NFL was going to appeal, right? Right again. Boy, I did not think the NFL was going to drag this out. You got preseason games. You got the Hall of Fame game. You got so much positive mojo going on for the league potentially right now. And then they go and they drug this up again. I felt it was kind of dead. It was set. It was settled. We could move on. I know that some people nationally were not happy about it, but no matter what they end up ruling, somebody's going to be upset. So why not just move on? You've got the arbitrator. You've just established this process. It was collectively bargained. Why throw it all in the trash now? That's what I don't understand, Nick.
And then leave the fans. We were talking about this a little bit before the show, guessing. Here's where we at now. You have some people saying the whole season. You have some people saying it'll remain a 6-game suspension with a huge fine. There's a rumor that the NFL wanted a minimum of 12 games, that they were trying to negotiate with Watson to keep him out of that Texans game week 12. It's like there's been no clarity on this entire process, and they only muddied it by appealing.
That's exactly right. And I don't know, Nick. As a sports fan, I never wanted to get this far into the disciplinary process of the
Yeah.
NFL. You're a busy guy. I'm a busy guy. We got a lot of things in our lives. We've got families, we've got jobs, we've got things going on. I really don't want to dig deep into a bunch of legal proceedings. And then on top of that, how the NFL is going to respond and read the tea leaves over all of these different cases. And boy, that's where we're at right now. You've got all of these people nationally, all the people locally, all of these beat reporters that are trying to figure out what's going to happen. And it's like, I would rather be, as much as I rip on it, breaking down who's going to be our third string tackle at this point and talking about the season, right? I don't want to be talking about our franchise quarterback who's going to be out. I don't want to be talking about all of these penalties. I don't want to be talking about the process. But this is what the product that they've created, the NFL has created and marketed, has led us to do. And it's very disappointing. I really wish the NFL would get cleaner with a lot of this stuff, and they aren't. They aren't. And I'll tell you, ever since Roger Goodell had taken over from Paul Tagliabue, it's been this way. They had an edict that they wanted to clamp down hard on the players and really get the discipline, plus disciplinary process to be stepped up, and that hasn't stopped. And I'm not saying, and don't get me wrong, what Deshaun Watson has done, I think is pretty disgusting. But at the same time, let's figure it out. Let's impose the punishment, and then let's move on. Let's not drag this out for 6 months. But here's where we're at.
Now there's reports that the NFLPA wants another hearing. Like there was the stuff that Watson could sue the league. I don't really see any upside to that. Like they literally have the best lawyers in the world. It's a big mess right now, to be honest with you, Chris. And the Browns signed up for it.
We did.
Not only did they sign up for it, they gave up 3 first-round picks to sign up for it.
And hey, maybe this time next year, we're talking about all the success we had when he got on the field and everything's moved forward and we're in a much better place. But boy, right now,
it's hard to see that point.
It really is.
We have a preseason game this week and we can't even
talk
about it. Yeah, Friday.
And it's coming up, and
they're traveling Wednesday.
Who are we playing? I don't even know.
Jacksonville.
I knew that. I look at the preseason schedule like once to see if we're home or away, and then I don't look at it again until the game's like upon us, and here we are. So, I can't wait.
I know Dave. I know Dave loves to do the gut check. Play the Bob Wiley footage. What's your gut say of how this all shakes out?
Well, I've been wrong throughout this entire process. I said that it would be 8 games, and what are we at? 6 games right now.
We're at 6 currently.
The NFL really wants to suspend them all season. I mean, and give them a hefty fine, I think. But I think they settle in the double digits. I think somewhere in the double digits with a fine is what ends up happening, which go ahead and put your money on it. That's exactly what's not going to happen now that I just willed it into the world.
No, I'm with you. I think if I was a betting man, just reading the tea leaves right now, obviously the league really wants that year-long suspension. The issue is Sue L. Robinson kind of wrote it in her manifesto that she put out there. Boy, that was lengthy, but that the league has set a bad precedent, and it's not her fault. It's not Roger Goodell's fault. It's not Deshaun Watson's fault that previously players who have done much worse and actually had proof were punished significantly less. So they can't go after Watson right now because of the precedent that they have set before. So I'm with you. I think just because of the sheer number of cases and the sheer, repeated pattern of behavior, they end up knocking them for double-digit games. I think it really could be 12, if they really want to screw with the Browns, 14 in a big fine and just, essentially end our season right there. So we'll see what happens, but crazy. All right.
When do you think we're going to hear?
I think we're going to hear soon. Based off of everything that's been reported.
By the first preseason game?
It's interesting.
Putting you on the spot.
It's interesting because Mary Kay reported today, Cleveland.com's own, just go through the whole newsroom here on the show tonight, that he's going to play a series or two in the preseason opener. So if it's an indefinite suspension, no, he ain't. So yeah, I do think they should and they will try to get this done by the preseason game Friday. And if not, then early next week would be my guess.
Do you think that's the Browns putting a little pressure on the league office to make a decision?
I don't think. I'll be honest with you,
they're saying, hey, by the way, he's here. He's going to be playing on Friday. If you don't want to see that, you better give us something.
I don't think the league office gives a damn about the Browns. I really don't. I think, and I know that they have
evergreen statement right there.
They've lacked transparency with the Browns throughout this entire process, and as well as Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Berry have attempted to handle this with saying that they respect the process and no commenting their way through life. The league really has done them no favors and given them no clarity on how to go about this. And I think that's why we see all of these 4 quarterbacks who have started games before in Cleveland right now, with the potential of rumblings of Jimmy G on the horizon as being an option for the Browns. So I think that they really don't care, but I can't see them letting this go into week 2 of the preseason, as the regular season is really just about a month away.
Amazing.
Bizarre. Amazing. Here we are. All right, let's get into our second headline this week, because the Real Housewives of Bria, there's never a shortage of news. Kareem Hunt has asked the Browns to trade him, and they've told him no. Per Mary Kay Cabot, he is looking for a contract extension. Do you extend Hunt? Do you trade Hunt? Chris, thoughts?
You give him some more money.
I think so too.
Yeah, I think they settle on a little bit more money, and then he continues to play. Because, I don't know that they're going to extend him, are they? I don't think that's part of the plan. I think maybe renegotiate his contract.
Yeah, he was a hold-in, which means that he was at training camp, wasn't going through the team drills, obviously was being fined for that, which is counterproductive if you're trying to maximize your earnings in a short NFL career. Correct. I do think they find a way to work this out with Kareem Hunt, because the issue is, you look at who runs this team in the front office, analytics don't really suggest trading away a top 10 player at their position for any, insignificant mid-round draft pick. That's all they would get back for Kareem Hunt. So I think he's going to be in Cleveland. And like you said, I think the path of least resistance, throw a little bit more cash in his pocket, give him a couple more, options in that contract to hit things based on incentive, and let him ride.
Yeah. Because I don't see him being here long term. And, I think he wants to prove himself this year for another team, and he wants a little bit more money to do so. And I think the Browns can make that happen.
Yeah, Kareem is 27, and 4 running backs. I mean, for any position, we saw it with Jarvis Landry this offseason. You get near that wrong half of 30, and these teams start treating you differently. They drafted Jerome Ford. They brought back Dearness Johnson, who's only 6 months younger, by the way. I think they got to keep Kareem Hunt this year, though, because of some of the other deficiencies and question marks on this roster of who is the quarterback going to be? What does the receiver room look like? And I think if they want any semblance of keeping the season alive with Jacoby Brissett, you got to have Kareem Hunt there kind of as a staple of this offense, right? As what the identity is.
Completely agree.
Yeah, too many question marks to move on. All right, let's get into our third headline this week. We'll wrap it up early on a Monday, get everybody out. With this past weekend from Adam Schefter, it's not too early to look ahead to next year's Pro Football Hall of Fame. First-year eligible players include Darrelle Revis, Dwight Freeney, and Joe Thomas. How crazy is Canton, Ohio going to be painted brown and orange when Joe Thomas finally gets in there next year, Chris.
Yeah, and I'm wearing my GV Art Joe
I love it.
Thomas shirt
great.
here, the first offensive lineman in NFL history. It's classic. Yeah, it's going to be, I mean, that's going to be a party in Cleveland. Joe Thomas is so beloved in this town for what he did for teams that underachieved, for the level of talent that he had and the level of effort that he also gave on those teams. You know, I feel bad still. You know, we asked Joe when he was on the show about my 0-16 parade and about what the feeling was in the locker room. And he told the story about after a loss, going down into the parking deck in his car and just breaking down and crying. You know, here this huge mass of a man who's given his heart out there, and just breaking down because the team was not winning. And here an idiot like me putting on an 0-16 parade, I felt pretty bad. That's the one of the few times I felt bad about the parade, was hearing this superstar and soon to be enshrined Hall of Famer relating that story. But that's going to be great. It's going to be great for the town. The only thing that could hold things back is if Art Modell for some reason gets voted in between now and then. So
don't let that happen. Come on, Tony Grossi. Don't let it happen.
That's what Grossi's there for, is to block that one, right?
Damn right. And he's been doing a damn good job of it. So Grossi, keep going, keep Art out of there. And yeah, Canton's going to be crazy next year. I wouldn't be surprised if the Browns play in the Hall of Fame game next year just to keep the party alive all weekend.
Well, that's what I was thinking with all these declining ratings on that Hall of Fame game. And we were talking about it before the show, just the ratings have gone down for the last 6 years. And I know you were there. The energy, you know, you got the Jags in Oakland, or the Raiders, not Oakland anymore, but the Raiders from Las Vegas, you know, it just didn't have any kind of swagger. And I was thinking, man, you need to get the Browns back in there. It would almost be nice if they go through a stretch where the Browns could play the Hall of Fame game to kind of kick off the season for a few years in a row. You know, I don't know that they would do that, but certainly starting it off next year with Joe Thomas, that would make way too much sense. And hopefully they do it, because that would be a nice treat here for the hometown.
And it would boost the ratings. That's for certain. So yeah, we'll see. Can't wait. And as we always say, there is always next year. So Chris, good stuff, man. What do you say we wrap it up? Get everybody out of here.
10 minutes early, huh? Look at that.
For sure.
We could play another round of baseball cards / football cards.
I'm good. We'll wait for Dave. We'll keep it for Dave.
Well, I think I've only got one pack left, so I'm going to insist we open up a singular pack just to see who we can pull.
Split it down the middle. Split it down the middle.
I'll tell you what. We'll say if I pick out a Cleveland Brown, I win. Okay? If I do not pick out a Cleveland Brown out of this pack, I lose and you win, Nick.
All right, that's fair. I like that. I like that. Yeah.
So I'm opening up a 1991 NFL Pacific Pro Football Plus Super High Gloss Premier Edition.
All right.
And who we got? Mike Height from the Jets, a guard. There's a good start. Al Harris, linebacker from the Eagles. Dwayne Woodruff from the Steelers, cornerback. John Freeze. Oh, John Freeze from the Chargers, quarterback. Mike Sherrard, San Francisco 49ers wideout. Maybe we shouldn't have played this game. Mark Robinson, Tampa Bay safety. Seattle Seahawks safety, Eugene Robinson. I remember Eugene Robinson. Stan Humphries, Washington Redskins quarterback.
How many we got left? Not many.
We've only got a few left. Kirk Loudermilk, Minnesota Vikings center. New York Giants kicker, Matt Barr. Now, see, that should count. Matt Barr was a Browns kicker for years. Do you remember Matt Barr?
I do.
He was Phil Dawson before Phil Dawson. Matt Barr was
he's up there in the record book.
Johnny Hector, New York Jets running back. Mike Quick, he was pretty good. Eagles wide receiver. Terry Long, Pittsburgh Steelers guard. And the last card, Courtney Hall, San Diego guard.
Look at that.
No Browns, unless you can't count Matt Barr.
Can't count Matt Barr.
I think I'm out of here on that one.
Chris, got to give the cards a break. I'm sure we will give the cards a break probably when football gets a little bit closer, and hopefully we have some real stuff to talk about. So good stuff.
We'll go PGA golf next.
Do they have that?
Oh yeah, they got PGA golf cards.
Wow.
We go live tour or not. We'll just pull out a deck and see who's with the PGA, who's with the live tour now.
Oh boy. Thank you guys so much for watching another episode of Big Play Reflog. Huge thanks to Joe Noga for jumping on super last minute to talk some guards. Big thanks to Shaq News. Go check them out. ShaqNews.com. They have the best video game news in the business. You hear Chris talking about them every week. You don't want to miss the stuff that they got going on at Shaq News. You could join the conversation as well with that Shaq News reader, Shaq News Cortex as well. If you're a gamer, Shaq News is the site for you. Go check out their featured article reviewing 2 Point Campus, which is an all new sim game that allows you to run your own university at Shaq News. Go check them out today. Go drink some Labatt's, go wear some GVR t-shirts, and be on those weekly giveaway lookouts for us at Big Play Reflog. Until next week, we'll see you then. Peace.
It's time! Streaming live from Cleveland, Ohio! Presenting the undefeated, undisputed heavyweight podcast of the world, the Big Play Reflog Show!